Hello and welcome to this week's episode. They've been doing it all day, sir. My, we are treated to an absolute ball game on Sunday. Let's get stuck in.
How was your long weekend, mate?
Warm. It was a warm one. Saturday, decided to go into the city just for a little bit of an explore. Went to the Australian Museum. Been there a couple of times before, but the boys absolutely love looking at dinosaurs and the dinosaur bones. Obviously, Sunday, big one, which we're getting into in a sec. And then yesterday, went up to the Central Coast and had a little explore of Tawoon Bay, I think it was. Nice little calm bay for a little swim in, first swim of the summer. And then managed to not get caught in the traffic on the way home on the M1, which was good. But what about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, to be honest. Went out to Freshie Local again on Saturday.
It's a reoccurring theme, isn't
Absolutely love it. Well, $7 schooners, 3 till 6. You can't really argue with that.
Can't argue with that one bit.
Found out there's an absolute great charity shop next door, but quite high end.
Some decent garms knocking about.
There was some decent Ralph Lauren knocking about for quite cheap, which my partner found, which was quite cool. Then went home, made some smash burgers because I bought a hot plate for the Weber, so I'm absolutely upgrading the cooking experience. Sunday final, Monday just caught up with some friends for dinner as one of the lads is off to the UK. So
nice.
So yeah, all round very good long weekend.
Sounds good. And do you know what? We had our best weekend for subscribers.
Love it.
Of all time. We had 5 new subscribers.
How good.
So if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. Trying to get to 100 in the near future.
Would be nice.
Greatly appreciated. But Sunday, what a game we were treated to.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Now, to start off with though, as always, when we head out west, it tends to get a bit warmer.
It was the thing I was not looking forward to the most, and there was a waft. The waft was there.
It was a bit of a sticky one still. I remember last time we went out there, 2023, we went to the final. It was warm. Last year, I think I was in the UK for that one, so we missed that one, but it was the same again. Like, we got up to our seats, we were up not in the gods. I thought we had quite good seats.
Yeah.
By the time we sat down in your seats, like, under this roof's a bit clammy, a bit
cozy,
sticky.
Bit cozy.
And we got there a bit early because we decided, we'll go along and watch the build-up and the pre-match. And do you know what? I thought it wasn't a bad start to the event. No. We had the retiring ceremony. Yeah. Which was good. And you cracked a joke saying, imagine if this is how we find out DCE's retiring.
I thought it was just going to come out of nowhere like The Undertaker. Just the whole stadium went black and he then just bowls out in the middle, like they separate and he walks out in the middle. I was expecting
get brought in
show.
On a Kia Tasman, holding on, saying, I'm done. This is my last dance. I'm finished. And then Teddy Swims, the performer. There was a lot of not controversy, but is he going to perform? Is he going to perform? What were your thoughts on it?
He's class live.
Yeah,
he's one of those artists that sounds the exact same live as he does in like on the tracks and stuff like that. Great show. I know you had your reservations around it. I think you were looking for a bit more of a hype song, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Like, don't get me wrong, when they did the AC/DC TNT, I was like, right, that's good. And then they went into his lose control. Control, and it was a bit of a slower end to the set. Now, look, he's a great performer, and the crowd were behind it, and the things we had on our wrists lighting up were pretty cool, and they engaged throughout the game as well. When there was
that was quite a good thing. Actually.
Try, no try, they were green or red, and then purple and all that sort of stuff. But I think he could have ended on more of an upbeat song to get the crowd really hyped. But when the players ran out, and I mean, we mentioned it last week around hoping that the Brisbane crowd bring that Brisbane energy. Well, it was on paper a Melbourne Storm home game, but my word, the Brisbane fans did turn up, and it
felt like a Brisbane. I felt like we were at the Suncorp. It was when the Brisbane teams were being announced and stuff like that. You heard the cheers very early on, and you were like, "There's a big difference here."
There was, and the hilarious thing was, it sounded like someone from the crowd had just stolen the mic and just gone, "Let's go Broncos." And you're like, hang on, so weird. Has someone just robbed the mic here? But it all built up to a great atmosphere. And do you know what the game reflected? I feel what it was. Obviously, Broncos 26-22 victors, and we predicted it.
We did. When old Mariner went over very early on. I thought it was going to be an absolute drumming. I just had this feeling that the Broncos were just going to dominate the game.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was pre-game. Didn't end up being like that throughout, but it was quite funny because we said straight away this could be an absolute drumming by the Broncos, and then I said, I think when Storm went over for their first or second try, Walsh can't defend one-on-one. like when he's got that split decision to make, he's always flying through the air to no avail. But by God, did he make up for it? He put in a hell of a shot when there was a 2-on-1 situation, which I think he just 100% committed to one of the players and just laid them out, which was an incredible bit of work, defensive work.
I believe in this game, like obviously he wins the Clive Churchill, fully deserved, and listening to a few of the podcast reviews of the experts that know what they're talking about more than we are, it's the most complete 80-minute performance that's ever been seen in a grand final. And there are 3 moments in this game. Gordon Tallis said this earlier, but I had this thought like when I was thinking, what do we talk about this? When Kamikamitha goes over after half time, and it's Reece Walsh making that effort. If he holds on to that ball, puts it down with no pressure, it's game over. Storm score first after half time. They get the momentum, they go on and they win. But knocking that ball on, making that tackle to make him knock that ball on, the chase back and the hustle for when he tackled, I think it was Papenhuyzen who was through. Absolutely immense. Stopped a guaranteed try. I don't know why Papenhuyzen didn't try and run it in himself instead of flicking it back. But then also his try himself, like that solo effort. It was almost like number 1 versus number 1, where I saw it on slow-mo when I got back, and he's eyeing Papenhuyzen up from the moment. You got to remember it's on final tackle as well, that he got the ball. He's eyeing Papenhuyzen up and he's looking at him as he's got people flying off of him left, right, and he just gets to him, gives him a stiff arm to the chest, and then just powers over under the post. And he was incredible. Like,
he was.
He absolutely deserved it. And you couple on top of that his 3 assists, which 2 of them just passes that were bullets.
Yeah.
Missing one person out to the winger, and Mariner just cleaned up.
He nearly got that one that was called a forward pass, which looped out. And I've seen them been called. I've seen them been fine.
That looked flat to me. If we're going on consistency.
And it was a very, very good loop pass out. But yeah, he had such a controlling game. Like, you talk about Cleary's performance in 23. Yes, it was an incredible 25 minutes, but that's all it was.
Yeah.
Whereas Walsh was involved in the full 80.
Yeah.
And by God, it was an incredible thing to watch.
It was the 2 grand finals we've been both involved the Broncos and both involved absolute spectacles. But one bit of controversy to do with Reece Walsh was the high shot that he put in on Xavier Coates early on. Obviously, Trent Liero goes to the bin later on in the game. I believe there is a big difference between the 2 hits. Reece Walsh lowers himself. Xavier Coates is lowering himself. And if he doesn't lower himself, he's shouldering him in the chest, but his face is lower. Whereas Liero leaves his feet, he's aiming at Carrigan's face and just nearly takes him out. Yeah. So I feel, yes, if we look at consistency for the whole season, Reece Walsh should have gone to the bin. But if we're looking at consistency between the 2 decisions, I think it was right.
Yeah, because I think Hughes got away with there was one for the Storm, I think must have been late in the first or early in the second, where it was very similar to Walsh's. Like, there was a little bit of mitigation in there. And it was just called a penalty when I think in those scenarios, I know you get the if it was a normal club game, it would be off. Whereas when there's so much riding on it, I think there is a little bit of leniency. Hence why you see it in Origin as well. There is a little bit more leniency in the sense of high tackles and whatnot. There's probably a bit more penalty than it would be dinging.
What's really interesting though, and I noticed this earlier, Reece Walsh got a 2-game ban reduced to a fine if he put an early guilty plea in. Now, I would understand if it was a 1-game ban reduced to a fine, but the fact it's a 2-game ban, I think is a bit...
Yeah.
It should be 2 to reduce to 1, but I don't know. I mean, for me, go on.
And then Grant came out and was like, I don't know how that wasn't because I got done for 2 weeks a few weeks ago. But then again, you watch Grant's, he's again high. Yeah. It's again, he's not lowered his body position. If anything, he's on his tiptoes. So he's tackling lads taller than him. Like, Harry Grant isn't exactly the biggest of gentlemen. So it's again that force upwards, whereas Walsh was downwards. But then you caveat with saying any contact to the head should be a binning. Like any shoulder to the head should be a binning. Like those scenarios.
And that's for next season. Like, I suppose we would like every game refereed like the final. A little bit of leniency, safety number one priority, and like making sure there's consistency. But it's so difficult because there's so many factors that go into certain hits. But the refereeing this year has been a controversial topic. A lot of inconsistencies. I thought Grant Atkinson had a good game on the whole, and he refereed it well for a grand final. Yeah. And it flowed, and it just allowed for an unreal spectacle.
He pinged things early, so the Storm's
opening set
slowing down. The Stags escorting with Coates. We called that last week and saying if because refs would have watched it back first as soon as Stags moved his foot gone flat penalty. And then he let things flow in the meat of the game. Yeah. Which you can argue that there wasn't the consistency with all calls because there was times when Storm were slowing it down again. But as you said, very very well refed. I think it added to the spectacle as well. Yeah. When you don't have the man in the middle wanting to make it all about him, which was quite nice.
100% agree. One player that's caused controversy the whole season, we've spoken about him quite a lot. Ezra Mam, whether he should have been playing or not, is not a conversation for now. But his defensive effort when he came on, started off on the bench, came on, and from minute one he was just throwing his body all over the place. And one of his tackles, that far sideline that we were sitting on, fumble and led to a try down the other end. Right, a big momentum. So it might have even been Walsh's try. It led to, I can't remember, but it's just a case of his physicality shored up that edge defense. Like those defensive frailties that were, you could see the Storm were just attacking one side. It
was the left. It was the Storm right. The Broncos left edge. They were targeting that side.
And I think because they didn't want to run to Mam's side when he was up there, like he was solid. How do you think Haas went? A lot of build up on him before the game.
He was hidden a little bit in the sense of he was only given about 40 minutes, I think he played.
Played 20 minutes, 2 20-minute stints. And I remember thinking, Haas has come off. Like, is there something up with him? But he just had a real quiet first stint. I think he nullified Atoya Kamano. Like, the middles did a bit of both. Like, Carrigan was fully up for it. You could tell he was, like, recharged, ready to go. He was playing long minutes. His second stint, though, Payne Haas.
53 minutes Haas played.
I was sitting next to that Broncos supporter next to me. It's like, Haas needs to come on now. Haas needs to come on. And he came on and he was just falling forward, always on his front, just dominant, physical. And he was shot out on his feet at the end. Like, he was exhausted.
He put in a ship, like 117 run meters, like 52 of them are post contact meters. Like, he was physical. Like I said, was he just fatigued a little bit? Hence why he didn't play the full 80. Because in the final, you'd have expected him to play the full 80. Yeah. And when the Broncos started dropping like flies as well at the end with Hunt and Reynolds having to go off.
So everyone else stood up. Like, another thing about Walsh, they just stood up and took control. And like, even the whole squad played a whole part in this in order to be able to win it. And
completely agree.
They were unreal. They were deserved winners
massively.
And Michael Maguire, Big Madge, has had his critics quite a lot this season, but he shut a lot of them up.
Yeah, and it's great, and it's great to see after we released it, because it's definitely because we released it and my take on the training. Yeah, it's now everywhere. Yeah, and I'm saying it's because I started talking about it and released it into the wild. But no, and it shows, because I know the Broncos were tired, but in that last 10 minutes, I just didn't see them. Granted, defensive scheme, they were a little bit over disjointed just due to that. That's losing Reynolds, and that's losing your two halves there. But again, they just looked so fit. Like when they came out for that second half, after that near miss, they just were
foot on the pedal, constant.
And they just, as I said last week, their aggressiveness, and when the Broncos are on a roll, they are so hard to stop.
I mean, it's probably quite recently, but I can't bother to find out or look it up. But when was the last time that Melbourne Storm didn't score a point in a half.
Yeah.
And especially in such a big game like this, like the Broncos just done everything right. And that knee to Hunt's head was pretty serious.
That's why you put your that's why you don't put your head across the body, kids.
Yeah. He might remember most of the game. Hopefully he remembers the celebration, because you look at where he was in 2015 dropping that ball, and that came up quite a bit, and there's been a few edits chucked around of his reaction. He turns around and he just looks like a defeated man. Then to go to St. George for a number of years, come back and win it with the Broncos again, it's absolutely just full circle. It's a fantastic story to see, and especially with Adam Reynolds as well, winning it with Maguire and then coming back and winning it with him again. There's just two players that, if Adam Reynolds hung up the boots now,
I think it'd be fine, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't argue against it. But thinking about some of the things that we've spoken about before, you look at Broncos' run to the final. They narrowly defeated the Raiders, beat the Panthers, and then beat the Storm. That is a hell of a run.
Yes, that is a big.
They deserve to be champions.
That is the half of the ladder you do not want to be in.
The thing that makes me think, though, do you think like the Raiders are kicking themselves, thinking we've missed that, and Panthers are both thinking, do you know what?
I think everyone that went through that side of the finals would have beaten the Storm.
Yeah.
I just don't think that. I've said it all season that they've limped to games, and they didn't limp this week. They got amputated, and They couldn't continue any further.
At one point, though, like genuinely, when Storm just scored 3 back-to-back, I was like, here we go. But at half-time, like Reece Walsh gets that one just before half-time, and I'm thinking to myself, Broncos are a second-half team. Like, this game is not over. 10 points is nothing to them, and they just came out completely different. Remember as well, they came out early because they were still putting the set away from the DJ, who was banging it at halftime, by the way. Like, got the party pumping, but they came out early, and it's like they got caught off guard trying to get the stuff into the tunnel, and they were fired up. Madge just must have shoved a rocket up their arse and go out there and win it. Let's talk about the Storm a bit, because I mean, where do they go from here? That's back-to-back years that they've lost in the final.
Well, another thing that I was chatting to you about the stat about, I think that was the 4th time Maguire has beaten Bellamy. Yeah. But Bellamy has only won 3 finals or something like that and he's been there a lot. So it's again, can he not get a team to rise to the occasion in that sense? Because you start looking at this and you look from the top down. You're like, right, okay, first of all, is it to do with the coach? You look at the scenario. Last year as well, they got humbled a little bit by the Panthers in the final. Yeah. Is that the issue? Then it's not. Then you look at the players. You've got the likes of Cam Munster in there. You've got the likes of Harry Grant.
They've got a ridiculous squad.
You've got the likes of Jerome Hughes in there.
Yeah.
Like why are they not able to lead their team? Because you look at the Panthers dynasty team. You've got Isaiah Yao, Nathan Cleary. Yes, and you could say the 3 Edwards, Yao, Cleary are the 3 that have really led them. And you've got the supporting acts of Martin. You've got the likes of Crichton who are in there, kick out, like they had their players. So why haven't the Storm been able to do that?
Yeah, it's a spine that has been together for a few years as well. I mean, what the future looks like for him as well is there's a few things circulating around today around Cam Munster. They're not going to stop him from leaving, potentially going to Perth, potentially going to R360, or even being eyed up by the Wallabies to play at a home World Cup in 2027. And the Storm have said they're not going to stop him. Big Nelson is off. I read something literally just a minute ago saying earlier in the year he was told that he's not needed next year. I mean, I know he's a liability, but I'd take him at Manly as a bit of a physical force. But to me in this game as well, I think I spoke about in the Panthers game against the Broncos, Sorensen got knocked out early and meant they were playing with 15 players, did the intensity of the Broncos catch up with the Panthers in that game. And then you look at Horvath as well in here. He pulled his groin, and then again, there's something that I've just seen. Apparently had a torn meniscus as well during that he was playing with. He had to leave early, and therefore they're playing with 15. So has the injuries kind of caught up? But then I also heard that Kobe Hetherington has also got double meniscus damage, and he played through the whole lot. Yeah. So It's coming to Manly next year, which isn't good, seeing someone with 2 tears in each meniscus. But there's something else as well that I read. I literally read so many things just before this, but Papenhuyzen is reportedly free to leave because of the rumours him going to R360. They want to kind of get rid of him before he makes a decision himself. So,
bit disappointed about him. Like, there's a lot of talk around him being an incredible fullback.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I've not seen him be able to get to the likes of Walsh, the likes of Tedesco, the likes of Edwards. Because when if they're going for a bad patch, they're bad. But when they're good, they are incredible. Yeah, that little cohort there. You can even throw Turbo in there, sort of
when he's on
somehow.
Kyle Weeks now, he's got a huge following. He's absolutely incredible when he's on. There's so many fullbacks in the game now. Who's the geezer for Parramatta? Yongi as well. He fullback. I reckon we mentioned this earlier in the season when the conversation came up about naming rights on jerseys. If you had now names on the back of the jerseys and number 1, there would be some serious fullback numbers sold. I think Reece Walsh would sell the most. I think he would have the highest following. Dylan Edwards maybe just for those Penrith fans, but I think you capture the kind of I'm not putting him in the same echelon as Michael Jordan, but you know what I mean? The Michael Jordan effect and the Kobe Bryant where just random people are buying number 1 Walsh jerseys. But the future, next year, they said they're going to reload, go again. Harry Grant's speech as well, actually, after the game, saying...
he looked very defeated.
He did look very defeated. I suppose that's back-to-back years that he's had to give a losing speech. But he said they're going to do their best they can to get back there next year. It's Bellamy's last year. Next year, I believe there's talks that he's going to go to the Titans as a supporting role.
He's been there for 23 years.
Yeah,
that's a long old. That's unheard of in sport now, especially in club sport.
Yeah,
having a tenure that long is mental. In that size thing, and I was just fact checking myself on that, but he's now 5-6 in finals.
5-6.
Yeah. So in the 11 finals he's been in.
Having a losing record in finals isn't great.
Considering when you've been to 11, like you'd expect to, and the Manly 40-0 losses in that one as well.
Reminds me of Thomas Tuchel. Like, he's such a good tournament manager, and then when it gets to finals, it's a bit questionable. It's a bit interesting. But I mean, look, props to Brisbane. Absolutely fantastic. Yep. What an event. What a final. Numbers blew out the AFL final. There were more, obviously you get all the emails and everything. Australia's number 1 sport. The viewers were bigger for the final. But what a season in general. Like, we look at it. I think that I was reflecting on the way over here that I reckon anyone in that top 8 could have won this tournament. Maybe not the Sharks. I don't know why. Shout out Sharks fans. But I just think anyone, like Roosters could have upset anyone on their day. The Raiders 100% could have won it. Panthers could have won it. Bulldogs maybe limping. Yeah. They would have struggled a bit. But it feels like to me in the
exciting
4 or 5 years that I've watched this sport, this is the most competitive season that there has been in that time when you look at it from bottom to top. Yeah. There wasn't much of a disparity between that team that finished in 17th compared to, although the Knights were terrible, compared to that team that finished 8th. Like, on any given Sunday, they could have beaten them. It's not like, this is going to be a blowout. This is an easy win. This is that. The Titans were turning up and beating people.
Yeah, exactly.
The Dolphins were rolling over people.
Only jersey we didn't see at the grand final.
Oh, that's a very good point. So we did a bit of jersey watching, didn't we? We went through the ladder to see what teams there were. Knights were holding on for dear hope of not being represented. Yeah. Then we scouted someone in the distance and saw them. And the Dolphins were the only team we didn't see. So maybe next year we'll try and get all 17 jerseys.
17. That would be a nice little tick off.
It will be. But that's it. That's the season. That's the NRL 2025 season finish. Brisbane Broncos are crowned champions. Few things coming up though. The Pacific Championship is not far away. Few teams named today.
Not far away.
I've looked at the squads. And for me, it's going to be a brutal championship. Like, there are some big names, or there's some big names missing through injury, but I don't know. I just like the look of Tonga's squad.
Tonga looks so good.
Out of all of them.
So does Samoa.
They both do. And you can't rule out the Kiwis either.
Oh, they just look like they're going to dominate, man. It's that Tonga. I think I'm going to join you on that. I think it could be a Tonga win. Like there's some serious talent in that team, and going off that the Australia selection for the Ashes.
Yeah.
As a proud Englishman, and it being very embedded in the NRL, there's a lot of talent flying over to the UK.
Well, Reece Walsh getting his maiden call up after that performance in the final. Depends how long he carries on for after winning it, but heading over to the UK.
I reckon he could carry on until the first game and still put in an absolute stellar performance.
Yeah, few new faces called up. Bradman Best, I think he's got the opportunity to absolutely Big Tino again. With Victor Radley not being called up, deciding to pull out, one of the big names that we've lost. Not knowing too much about the Super League itself, but only knowing the NRL players going over and playing, it feels like it could be a very one-sided affair. It's good that all games are sold out. I believe Wembley's the only one that's still got tickets. Everton's new ground, playing there is going to be class. But talking of Australian 11, Australian 13s, the Prime Minister 13 was named. Big Jason Saab getting a call up.
Jason Saab was named in there, yeah.
Do you know what? I'm a little bit disappointed. I reckon Bullimore could have potentially got a shout in that, just for how he's played this year. I wouldn't have been disappointed if he'd have got a call up. But I mean, look, he's one on the rise. Have you seen the odds for next year of who's going to win, who's favourite to win the 2026 title?
I have not, no.
So Brisbane Broncos are $5 to win it, and then you got the usual candidates of the Storm, Panthers. What do you reckon Manly are to win it next year?
40.
Oh, $41 to win it. Yeah, I am going to be lumping on that because we were reading it, weren't we, on the way home? Cody Hetherington, Premiership winner. Jamal Fogarty, minor Premiership winner. Blake Wilson, Canterbury, solid team. I reckon we're just a couple of signings away.
A couple of players away from having a solid team next year, I reckon.
But
we'll preview that when we get all the information.
We will. And do you know what? It's been fun this season. It's been good starting this podcast.
It is.
I think it's been a learning curve. I mean, I look back to some of the videos that we released
very early on, yeah.
And the quality's definitely gone up, but we'll be looking to improve that next year. So what does the next few months look like? What we got coming up? We've got the Ashes coming up.
Got the Ashes.
Both cricket and
Ashes. If Birmingham and Chelsea start doing well, I think we'll start dropping that in every now and then.
Yeah. Well, Chelsea beat Liverpool at the weekend.
They did. We drew with Wrexham in the Hollywood Derby. Which is mad. That's the second time I've talked about this in the whole period that we've done this.
Yeah.
We've got some guests lined up. I think there's a few people that want to jump on, and I think it'll be exciting to get those different aspects of the sporting world. It's going to be an exciting period of time.
Looking forward to it. So there we go. NRL 2025 done. Season 1 wrapped up. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with the odd special episode that we might upload. Maybe some Ashes review, because we're going to Sydney and we want to or the Sydney test, we want to keep everyone updated. But hit that subscribe button, follow us on socials. Thank you for joining us, not just for this episode, but for the last 37, I think it's been. And we'll catch you next year.
See you next season.